Hey there, today we're going to use my oracle board. So we're going to get an overall look at your energy. This is pick a reflection, so these pieces of information that I share with you are just something to reflect on. See how you feel about it. You'll know how you feel in either in agreement or in contrast to what I'm saying. To only take what is true for you and is useful and helpful to you. Leave the rest for someone else. We've got 5 picks today, starting with pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, and pick 5. This is rose quartz, clear quartz, milky quartz, amethyst, and selenite. Okay, so pause if you need some more time to make your choice. I'm just going to start stacking these over here. And we are going to start with pick 1. Okay, pick 1. I'm just grabbing the right deck from my stash here. I'm keeping my cards in these because they travel so well. This is one of my oldest decks, my second oldest deck here I've used for this board. So this oracle board has different things in the slots. The board is facing me, and where the card falls on the board tells me a bit more about what that card means and what part of your life it is affecting or signifying. Since this is a look at your energy, we'll just see what the board shows us in all these categories. Usually it takes about 20 minutes to go through the board. Okay? Okay. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, probably. Okay. And here we go. Wow, I just got a whoosh of dizziness. Let's ground ourselves, okay? Let's take a deep breath and also stay hydrated during this, okay? Please excuse my gulping and slurping. When I was a kid, on road trips, my mom would have us 3, me and my siblings, share a can of soda on the ride. We took road trips often to the next state over to visit family. And so I would have to wait until last because she called me the guzzler. She said that I guzzled the drink. so but we were supposed to share the one can, so I mean, when looking back, I'm just like, I guess because it was soda too, you know, she didn't want to give us each our own can, I guess, but very interesting. So yeah, but now I drink water and I can guzzle as much as I want, but I know it doesn't sound pretty. Okay. So we've got Summer on grounding the root chakra and the sacral chakra. Everything that you're asking for is yours in the summertime. I think you've been really looking forward to summer. It may be summer where you are now, or there's just some appreciation for the summertime that you're really feeling in general. I think you've been healing a commitment. You are in the process or have healed much. And if not in a commitment that you're in commitments in general. I think you've been doing this with the influence of your angels, your guides, maybe your highest self. Yeah. And you may have had some bothersome outside influences while planning a holiday or while on a holiday recently. Or the fact that maybe there's a lot of people depending on you right now and you have a lot of responsibilities and you're not able to take a holiday that you feel is much needed, that you are looking forward to. Maybe you feel like it's the answer to your issues. Holiday as in a vacation, just some downtime to really enjoy life. I'm going to take this in reverse. We got new home in reverse. I feel like either you may be moving or someone's moving in or out of your house, and it may be making you feel kind of nervous. Yeah, you may be feeling a little nervous about your home situation or the fact that you have to move. But this says your wish is granted, and it's on self-confidence. And so I do think you're just trusting. You're trusting things are going to work out, or you are taking the steps that you need to take to work towards what you wish to happen. Confidently taking steps. You know that you'll get what you want. There is a rebirth about to happen that has not happened yet. Okay, so that means you're ending cycles right now and new cycles are beginning. Either that or you've already begun the new cycles. But there is a new project waiting to be born. Perhaps this is why you're doing some research. This could definitely be my pile. You've been doing some research and learning perhaps about communication, about how using your third eye, about information on where you're going to live and what you'll do that way, and also maybe this project that you're birthing. There's more to know, and I think you already know that. So you're like already taking the steps. And experiencing unconditional love between yourself and your children, which is so beautiful because a lot of us have experienced conditional love. I think you're unconditionally loving yourself and any parts of your inner child that had not been unconditionally loved yet. And it's part of your life's purpose to do so. And maybe you're doing research on that in particular. I think you are doing a exercise regimen. You're just being more active than before, and in a way that makes sense to you, and it's customized to you. It's like it's falling on the board with nature and perfectly imperfect stuff. So the regimen that you have is the good regimen for you. It may not be what somebody else would suggest or follow. I think you're really going inward right now, and just really getting in touch with yourself, who you are, checking in. I don't think you've been asking your guides for too much help or anything like that. Like, I do think that they guided you through the healing part, but maybe now it's kind of, they're giving you a bit of a rest. Maybe it's so that you can sort out these responsibilities that are keeping you from fully actually enjoying. We've got travel in reverse, so there may be some inhibitions around traveling at this time. That could be the issue with the holiday and the vacation too. Or it could be just like me, which is that my vehicle needs some repair at the moment. And it's travel in reverse, so I think travel is being blocked at this time in some ways. You may feel very eager to get the next part done, to like just move through what's happening right now, but in actuality you're meant to be kind of enjoying and having fun, and like looking at the blocks to doing that is actually what you're being given time to do. That's why you don't have your next assignment. Like, that's why you don't know yet. It's still time for researching and knowing that there's more to know. It seems like you are being taught patience at this time. Patience with your... Maybe there's a part of you inside and your subconscious that hasn't been good with patience. So you may be feeling challenged in that way at this time. Okay, so let's see what these cards have to say. Boy, it feels so good to be in this energy, just so you know. I really like it. It feels like just relaxed, calm, you know. You've done some good healing. The advice card is dig in and see it through to completion. So I'm looking on the board, I'm like, well, it's finding out what's keeping you from being able to enjoy life more. You know, because even if the blocks seem to be outside of you, they've manifested from something inside of you. Or the decision to even let them be blocks is inside of you. Perseverance, the badger, you know. Oh, hawk. Focus. Choose your priorities and eliminate all distractions. Yeah, that's what I heard too, right? When I said that just letting those things be the deterrents to what you're trying to do. And then strategy. Have a backup plan. This is why you're researching. This is why you're kind of being put at a pause, so that you can think about what you're going to do, and then what you're going to do if that doesn't work. Lighten up. This hummingbird is showing on the deck as I put it down. And I'm just going to get one or two from this deck too. Live your bliss. Yeah. Whatever's in your way of enjoying life, living your bliss, living like traveling and being on vacation kind of mode, that is what you're working on to remove from your, as obstacles, from your life. Abundance is your right. Yeah. So whatever's keeping you from those things, it's like that's what you're researching. You're researching what is it. Now, just as a side note here, I was just reviewing as in like looking at which one I want to buy, some books on Kindle by Jose Silva regarding the Silva method. And he is teaching a method of putting our bodies into a relaxation state and kind of reprogramming and allowing the resistance to go. So that might be something that interests you and would help you remove these blocks that you have. Okay? Yeah, I feel like that's a good advice for you. And I know that's what I'll be doing, and this feels like it's a pile that would apply to me as well. Okay? Wow. I mean, the energy, I just love how it feels, and it reminds me of... It's just weird. It just reminds me of... There's a person that I met in my life a long time ago, like 8 years ago, and he was like a significant person that I was meant to come across in my life. And the feeling was this feeling that I'm feeling when I'm in this, like... It's like... It just feels like home. I hadn't felt that feeling in a long time, and it kind of brings tears to my eyes. So, very interesting, pick one. I hope that is helpful. Remember, this is just information to reflect on. So take what's useful to you, leave the rest for someone else or another time, and maybe we'll see you in a future reading. I'm going to end your reading there and move on to pick two. I pick two. I'm just shuffling the deck. I kind of want to put the cards upright. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit of clapping to kind of clear the energy from the last reading. You may have been drawn to both readings, and that's fine, you know, for those of you who were, but I'm still going to clear the energy. Okay. Your wishes granted popped out. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's see what you got here. This is a look at your current energy. Information just to reflect on. Wow. Ask for what you want. Let the universe and other people know what you want. Okay, this is falling on the sacral and the root chakras, if you go by chakras. You don't have to. But the groundedness. So in order to ground something that you want on Earth, I think you're asking the universe or others for what you want. You may have just committed to a new career, or to a new position within your career, or you may be committed to finding a new career. There may have been some outside influences that were bothersome to you, and you've just been able to eliminate them. So you've been clearing blocks to your happiness. You must have cleaned up karmic cycles there. Your heart is like opening, and you are starting to use your will in heart-based ways. You may be in a pregnancy, but it may just be a new project, and it may be tied to something that you wanted. You know, this wish that you've had granted and what you had asked for. I think that you keep cheering yourself on, that you're confident, and you keep reminding yourself to be confident. I think you're really grateful for what you are achieving. And I think that you are also cheering other people on in your career or through your career. In order to have a rebirth in a situation, there may need to be some forgiveness. And it could be yourself that you need to forgive. Like if you had to leave certain people behind in your journey, there may be a part of you that feels bad about that or something, and there may be a need to forgive yourself for what you're having to do to achieve what you came here to do as a soul. And there may also be some forgiveness to offer to others. Anything we're carrying as a burden or a grudge is heavy and dense and will weigh us down. So it's important to honor how we feel, and then offer the forgiveness for, you know, other humans being flawed and learning, and, you know, even if they do things on purpose to us, it's like they are doing their best. Like that was all they had at the moment, right? I think with communication issues, you've kind of maybe backed off a little bit, and maybe you're just trying to like go in the flow instead of being all like planning everything out and knowing everything right now. Maybe you've taken back from communicating very much. You're really easy about it, like just communicating when you need to, not just for the heck of it. I think you are in the process of healing a broken heart, and you haven't quite healed everything from it. Like that forgiveness is a real important step that will need to be taking place in order for the healing and the unconditional love of yourself and others to take place. And the same way you talk yourself through your career, you could apply that to the healing methods that you're doing and the forgiveness that you offer yourself. One of the ways that you may be coping is that you're just trying not to have the reality that you're living in shattered. So you may not be like wanting to look into new methods and new things. Like say you had an opportunity to get an astrology reading. Maybe you wouldn't, because you wouldn't want to know what was said. That's because there's a reality that you're living in, a comfort zone that you're afraid that will be shattered. And if you fear that it would be shattered by knowing something else, then it may be time to admit that it's not true, because the truth doesn't get shattered. The truth cannot dissipate with more information. You see, it's just the truth. So when we're afraid to learn new things, it means that we are living in a false reality that we may have made for ourselves in order to survive. And we won't be able to thrive unless we build on a foundation of truth. So when you're ready, you may want to start looking into new information that you're being drawn to. And part of that might be accepting yourself as imperfect. Like perhaps you've been unable to accept fault for things that you've done. And this is falling on perfectly imperfect. So it's kind of like, well, you know, you're allowed to make mistakes. You are a human being. What else? How else are you going to learn? You didn't come here to learn to fit in the box that your parents told you to get in. They didn't want you to make mistakes, and they were trying to guide you, but actually you're a whole human being that came here with your own agenda. And now that you're an adult, you're going to have to break yourself out of any of those constraints that were put in place around you so that you can really thrive here. And so that you can make sure all your wishes are granted and go towards all the things that you're here to birth. Maybe you're really looking forward to summertime. Summertime may be when you get clear enough, you've cleared up this forgiveness issue enough so that you can hear your guidance from your guides and your highest self and spirit or God or however you want to call it. That will become a lot more clear in summer, by summertime. So if you're in the northeast of America where I am, you know, you've got to go through spring, and then through spring you'll be doing some of this healing, and then into the summers you're going to get a lot more clarity and feel more fulfilled in all these things that are going to fall into place after you've healed this lack of forgiveness, which is serving as a block. But see, during the spring you're going to accomplish a lot. So right, we're heading into spring here in the northeast of America, and I realize that you may be somewhere else, and that's fine. You just apply it for where you are, and if you're looking at this reading at the time it's put out, you can apply this as like the spring is the season we're entering now, and the summer is the next season. Okay, so this season that we're entering now is going to be very fruitful for you to accomplish a lot, and you are going to traverse a lot of smooth and rough situations, but you will handle it all, and you will feel very accomplished, and you will accomplish the healing during this season. Wow. And then you've got love life on the subconscious, and I think below the surface of all this, because you got your heart broken, maybe you weren't focused on love, or the love life was kind of not at the forefront, or there were some kind of impediments within your foundation that were keeping you from having a fruitful love life. But with this healing that you're doing, your love life is going to get ready to be at the forefront and flourish a lot more. So you'll have more changes for the better in your love life as a result of this. Okay. Getting some dizziness again. Squirrel, preparation. Get ready for big changes. Yeah. Like everything's about to change for you as you go through this. It's like that's probably why you may not have wanted to know new things or expose yourself to other possibilities, because it was scary, and entering into the unknown is part of the journey that we have to get good with. You know, as we're healing and opening up to our spiritual nature. So getting ready for big changes means getting ready to be patient, getting ready to be okay with the unknown, getting ready to know things that we've been living by that aren't true. Let go of control, otters, surrender. Yeah. So a lot of the ways that we cope, especially when we've been hurt, is we try to start controlling things, and these are things that actually we impede ourselves by trying to control these things, because you know, God has a plan, or universe has a plan here, and everything is working for us, not against us. So we can actually just stop resisting and go through the flow, and it will get a lot easier. Okay? Let go of ego. Your ego is just trying to protect you. That's why it doesn't want you to look into things deeper. It doesn't want you to question things, and it wants you to, it kind of will even set you off to distract you when something is coming up that it doesn't want to let you feel. So just notice these things about yourself and let yourself go to the places Let yourself see the untruths. Let yourself forgive. It's okay. Everything is okay. Everything will be okay. Just gonna get one more of these cards. So I think this card is really just trying to say, like, you know, it's okay to let go of this. It's okay to let this stuff crumble. It's okay to let yourself be vulnerable. It's okay to risk being hurt. It is okay. You're going to be okay, and it will be worthwhile. And then possess self-confidence. Okay, you can trust yourself the same way you do in business, the same way you do in your job, the same way you talk yourself through and let yourself know that you can handle it all, and that you are competent, and that, you know, you're worth it and all that. That's something that you can carry through to this forgiveness and healing issue that leads to your fruitful love life. Okay, you really do got this. I mean, you are always going to learn these things. You are always going to be pushed out of your comfort zone at this time. And everything that you've done to this point, and how you've survived and been able to support yourself and get through, like, that is all helpful stuff that you know. That you're not just like starting from scratch. You're starting again, but you're starting from a place that's knowledgeable, that understands, that has so much wisdom gained, and that is innocent. So it's okay to let go of the part of you that wants to be on guard, and the part of you that wants to make sure that you're not hurt again, or anything like that, or make sure that you don't hurt people again. Like, it's okay. Everything is a learning experience. You're here on Earth, school. So it's important to, yeah, just let yourself be that. Be the beginner. Be the innocent child that is ready to learn something new. And bravely go into territory unknown. Okay? Remember, this is just information to reflect on, so you don't have to take anything that's not true for you. Just take it if it's helpful. And I'm going to end your reading there, and look forward to seeing you in a future reading. Okay? Pick 3. Hello. How are you? I'm going to give a few claps just to clear the energy. Oh, that's one thing I forgot to buy as a lighter. I went to the store today, I forgot to buy a lighter. And I need my lighter to burn some Palo Santo. That's alright, I'll ask the Palo Santo to still kind of give us a little bit of a clearing here. Alright, let's see. Okay, pick 3. Let's see what we got here. Some information to reflect on. Your desire is within reach. Have faith. Everything's working out fine in your favor. Okay. You're working on something that you know you will achieve, and you are doing it in a very creative way and letting it kind of come to you. There may have been some commitments from the winter time that allowed you to fully realize something, or you realized something in the winter time about your commitments. or you will. And there may be some sort of impediment on getting some exercise. Like, maybe it's like you don't like the people at the gym, you don't get along, or you've got mud season, so it's hard to go for walks. You broke a leg, you know, just some outside influence is inhibiting you on getting some exercise, and it could just be your energy level. You may be changing your diet in order to help yourself get some energy. Adding more vegetables in, or eating vegetarian even. I think you're letting go of your self-confidence issues. And letting go of the places where you didn't love yourself. Yeah, you've kind of been reborn into this version of you that is self-accepting. That's like, yep, this is me, you know, I'm reborn into this authenticity, and this is it. This is what I am. This is who I am. You know, no masks, no hiding. Yeah, really being who you came here to be. You may be using some essential oils, herbal essences, flower essences. You may be like getting ready to plant seeds or plant a flower garden or tending to flowers in some way. Or maybe like writing poetry and planting seeds with your words. Interesting. We got new home in reverse on unconditional love. Maybe you've had to move and you don't love your new home. You may be nervous about moving. You may need a place to move to. Okay. You may be like working to surrender your worries and fears around the new home thing. And also around anywhere that you aren't fully yourself yet. You're just working on being good with every aspect of yourself, loving every aspect of yourself unconditionally. That's really beautiful. And I think that when it comes to your guidance from your spirits and your crown chakra and the universe, there's some forgiveness. Perhaps you felt let down by some guidance that you received, or some spiritual connection that you had, a soul contract perhaps. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just getting messages from my own personal benefit while I'm doing the reading, and I was just realizing, oh, I have a forgiveness to give on a soul contract that was in. So I'm gonna make sure I do that. Yeah, okay. So there may be something like that for you as well. Like there's a forgiveness that needs to happen on a soul contract that you had, or someplace where you may have felt let down by source or spirit or your guides. But everything that you want is coming to you. What you're asked for is coming true. Like you've accomplished what you meant to accomplish. So even with that soul contract being like that, that's part of it. It's like that was always meant to happen. And I think you're really just Oh, so easing through this transition of just taking anything that arises that needs your love, loving it, loving your body with good food. Even though the exercise might be coming hard for you, I think that you will get there, right? Like, I think it's just like a matter of like finding the healing that of whatever it is keeping you from it. You know, even if you were like had a broken limb or whatever, maybe there's another part of your body you can move, or you can use visualization. When I lost a lot of weight in the past, one of the things I did was in order to activate my primal need to shed weight, I used to visualize being chased by a tiger. I know that sounds crazy, but John Gabriel mentioned it in the Gabriel method, I think it's called. And you just visualize being chased, and to activate this primal shedding of weight, because the primal kind of body stuff takes over and says, oh, well, we need to be a lot lighter so that we can outrun these threats. And you only do it for like 10 or 15 seconds. And don't do this if you have nightmares or if you don't think it's the right thing for you. I'm not suggesting that you do this if it's not feeling right for you, but I'm just giving an example of how I got my body willing to let things go by visualizing. Koala, empathy, speak less and listen more. Interesting. So you could take some advice from pile 2. they definitely speak less and listen more. Then you got moose, authority. You know what is best for you. Yeah. You'll hear yourself if you're just kind of in the stillness with yourself. I'm going to get a couple of these other cards. I love the reminder for me to forgive this soul contract that I had, because it was a definitely difficult one, but so like fruitful, so needed. It all happened in the astrals and never grounded, and I thought it would ground, and it's okay that it didn't ground, but I guess because it never grounded, I never thought of really doing the apology part, I mean the forgiveness part. I just said, okay, I'm just letting it go. But like also forgiveness, it's like, yeah, that was a thing that I experienced with a magician. Let go of ego. Okay, so there may be certain coping mechanisms that are coming up for you to see them in this stillness that you're in. And then as you see them, you can let go. And then possess self-confidence. Oh, isn't that interesting? Because those, I think, are the cards that came out in pile 2 as well. So very interesting. Possessing self-confidence is what you're doing, you know, by being yourself. So I feel like this was just like recognition of what you're already doing and to continue doing it. Like, this is the time for you to do that. You're doing well. And remember, this is just information to reflect on. So if you don't feel like it's helpful to you, then leave it behind. Just take what's helpful for you. And thank you for participating in the reading today. I'm going to end your reading there. And I'm going to go on to the next one. Pick 4. I pick 4. Pick 4. Let's just stop and take a drink of water. And shuffle these cards a little bit. I also gotta straighten out my leg. Let's see how that goes. Alright. These cards are getting pretty worn. It's like my second oldest deck. My first deck, I don't really use it that often. But I like this deck for this board. Okay. Okay. First things first. You got walk away in reverse on the root chakra and the sacral chakra. So, you could even be tied to pile 3 where they had an issue with exercising and it could have been a broken leg, and so that could inhibit walking, right? There may be some reason that you can't walk. And if it's not that, then you could be, or even if it is that, you could be holding on to situations that you know are not good for you. You could be living in a situation that you know is not good for you. And this may be showing you where there's room for emotional healing and causing you to need to heal your emotions. You may be going through some emotional healing at this time. Yeah. And it has to do with what you've committed yourself to. And you may have committed yourself to doing the emotional healing. You got spiritual teacher, and it's on the place on the board that shows me there's outside influences that are kind of annoying and an impediment. So when it comes to spiritual teacher, perhaps it's like you are a spiritual teacher, right? You have a certain level of awareness and you want to teach others. However, something is keeping you from doing it. Some program or limiting belief that's been put in you from the outside, from the environment, at some point in your life or a previous lifetime, is keeping you from doing this, from being the spiritual teacher that you are meant to be. Now, spiritual teachers are kind of, I would expect to be naturally put in that position. So I feel like it's a belief or a program that is keeping that from happening for you, so it's within you. Okay? And maybe it's that you don't feel ready because you're still doing some healing. Maybe it's just not time, so it's not necessarily wrong, but that's the case. But it's, for whatever reason, this is the information that's coming up, so you know that this is you. Like, if you know that you have spiritual knowledge, you know you want to share it, and you know you're being held back from doing so, then you know that this is likely your message, your pile. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah. I think you're practicing with getting more confident and more open-hearted and more able to take the steps you need to take. Yes, getting more confident in doing so. You may be using essential oils. You may be like really enjoying the fact that we're entering into the springtime where there's flowers blooming and just freshness, and someone may have brought you flowers. You may be planting seeds for people wherever you go, as a form of being a spiritual teacher, as a symptom of it. Your inner feminine or your actual daughter, but I have a feeling that this is the inner feminine child, like the child version of you. The feminine part is going through a rebirth. So this is where your creativity and your receptive mode is kind of coming back online through play. Yes, you're going through a rebirth. I mean, this could definitely be causing a lot of emotional feelings, outbursts, pouring out, really enjoying more beauty in life, feeling nurturing, wanting to be nurtured. You are asking for what you want. Like, instead of using manipulative methods, coercive, people-pleasing, anything like that, you're just outright asking. If you want something or need something, asking for it. Wonderful, beautiful. Sounds very fair. Yeah, you're being forthcoming and forward with people where you need to, and yourself, and the universe. You're asking the universe. I think that you are talking yourself through difficult things and letting yourself know that you are lovable, that you love yourself unconditionally. And you're reminding yourself of that, and you maybe even have like some like notes around to remind yourself of it. I think what you are doing for a job, or what you would consider your career, it's shifting, and it's like it's perfect for you, but other people might not think it's perfect. Right? Like maybe you're working from home, or maybe you're doing a startup business, or maybe you're working for someone else, or maybe you're working part-time. But whatever it is, other people might not think it's great, and you might not have even thought it was great at one point in your life, but now it's like perfect for you. Perfectly imperfect, right? It's like whatever it is, even if it's difficult and you feel like it isn't perfect, it's teaching you something that's going to be useful for you to know. So even the imperfection in it now, given enough time, you will realize the perfection of it. Maybe it's the fact that you can't work too. I heard that. Okay. You've got the power, and this is falling on the board with crown chakra and your connection to source. So you know you're connected to source, you know that you can resolve whatever, you know you can have conversations and get help and assistance and be shown signs. You are empowered. You totally understand that you are a conscious creator here on earth, having an experience that you created for yourself to learn from and to have and to be. And you understand that it's all working out beautifully. That you will accomplish everything that you need to accomplish. That right now it's the time for emotional healing, loving yourself, letting yourself get more free with the feminine energy, the creative energy, and the receptive energy, because that's where you hear your downloads. And that is a comfort in itself. You know everything's okay. Yeah, you have a great connection with source. And connect with nature is falling on the subconscious, so there may be some blocks to connecting with nature, and it may be more that you like, it may be more like I want to say in your head, or like more like if you put your mind to overcoming that, you will have overcome that too. Like, you can connect with nature. You are rejuvenated and inspired by spending time in outdoors, it says. And so if there's a block to spending time outdoors, maybe it's not a block that you can't overcome pretty easily. Okay, let's get some advice cards for you. So remember, these are just reflections, so it's like, what do you feel in response to hearing what's been said? And whatever you feel is the thing that's important. Porcupine, innocence. Free yourself of guilt and shame. So as you do this emotional healing, that's what you're doing, right? You're forgiving yourself for investing in the things that you invested in, and letting yourself know that this was all just part of the process. Like, there's no need to be guilty or to shame yourself for what you've been through. You are an innocent being here to have an experience. Buffalo, abundance. You are provided for in all ways. Yeah, you know, I've been through a certain journey, and part of it involved me being agoraphobic and not leaving my house or bed even for years. And one of the things I've known is that without that time where I was kind of like out of the workforce and not really a capable contributing member of society, I was provided for in all ways, and without that I would not have accomplished what I have accomplished now in my healing and in just being able to dissect all of what I had been through and understand it to a degree and to a place where I could actually put it to use, you know? So it's like I can give back now that I have found my understanding through those things. But I was, of course, feeling guilt and shame for not being able to provide for myself at those times. I had to be supported because I wasn't able to work during those times. I couldn't leave my house without a panic attack. But that's like now part of my journey. Like, I have freed myself of the guilt and shame, and I appreciate so much that I had been provided for in all ways. And now I understand this. I understand fully that this was built into the plan for my life on what I was going to learn and accomplish here. You are here for a reason. Yeah. There is a reason that you've been through everything you've been through. There's a reason why you have had the perspective that you've had, the experience that you've had, even why you're feeling held back on sharing. A few came out, I guess I'll take them all, but possess self-confidence, right? I think that you've been talking yourself up, and that's great, and this is just kind of recognition that you're doing that, and that's a good thing to do. Thoughts create your reality, so make sure you are expecting the best. Make sure you are remembering that, you know, the reality that you're living is the one you created. So if you created it, then maybe look in understanding why you created it. Maybe that's why it's there. Set your intentions. So is your intention to have the experiences that you're having and learn from them? Is the intention to achieve certain things? Is your intention to connect with nature? Is your intention to connect with source? Is your intention to be a spiritual teacher? Set the intention before you take the action, and choose love over fear. Yeah. So sometimes that is just loving yourself when you are in fear. Being present with your fear is loving yourself through whatever arises. So choose love over fear. You can trust that this is all happening for you, that you are provided for in all ways, and that everything's okay. So in the moments where you don't remember that that's just fear telling you that story, and that you're trying to learn something from that fear. You're trying to understand that fear. And in order to allow that fear to rest, you'll love yourself through it. Okay. So remember, these are just pieces of information to reflect on. So just take what's helpful to you. If it's not helpful to you, then leave it for somebody else. Okay, I appreciate your time participating in this reading. And I will see you in a future reading. I'm going to end that there. Move on to the next one. Pick 5. Hello, Pick 5. Just doing some shuffling. This deck is a little hard to shuffle. This has been a fun reading. I've just felt really good energy throughout the whole reading, so, and yours too. I'm really feeling this nice, calm, beautiful space. I love it. It's really good. Okay. I feel so fortunate to be here doing this, to have my internet, my electricity, a nice place to live, heat. I have a full belly, I have spring water to drink. I mean, yeah, I'm just feeling so much love and gratitude for life, so you may relate to that right now at this time. Let's see what your cards say. Your desire is within reach. Okay. Very interesting, because I shuffled these cards, as you saw, and this card came out in this position in another reading as well. You are achieving your goals. You're bringing them down to the ground. What you are trying to achieve in life, you are just letting it come to you at this point. You've done most of the work for it. You're just staying in the flow. Some things that you've committed yourself to will be fruitful in the autumn season, or you got fruit from the autumn season. Your love life may have had some interference in it from outside of you, and that could be from beliefs that were adopted from outside of you that aren't true to who you really are, but it could actually be manifesting as people or circumstances, stuff that's outside of you that's really kind of messing with you. Karmic patterns, perhaps, karmic people, really interfering with your love life. So if you feel that, this is a confirmation that's the view from here too. Maybe you were very active in winter time. There was a lot to do in the winter. And you've been getting a lot of exercise. It's making you feel more confident, able, have enough courage to accomplish what you need to take steps that you need to take. You are connecting with nature, and it's really, really important that you do right now, because through your connection to nature, you're going through a rebirth, okay? So you may have had to shed a bunch of stuff. That's could be what this autumn thing was about. If the time period of autumn didn't really resonate for you, then autumn is a time when the leaves shed their when the trees shed their leaves, and we have like this dying down of the vegetation, and then this connect with nature is falling on the rebirth part of the board. So I feel like that's what's been happening with you. It's like you had an autumn, and now you're having like this rebirth through into the spring, where as you connect with nature. And nature is really going to be a helpful place for that to happen for you, especially if you're like always with your cell phone or connected to electronics in a big way. That time in nature is so important. You may be dreaming or talking about travel or planning a trip, but it may not be until the winter that you're going to be traveling. Or you may have traveled over the winter months. You may love traveling a lot. You may talk about traveling. You may have a travel blog. Think that you are able to be an individual and know and like have your own style, and it's okay if it doesn't like go along with what other people are doing or wearing. I think that it's a way for you to show yourself, not only your individuality, but your own unconditional love of yourself. It's like a way for you to prove to yourself that you love yourself enough. It's like that you can stand out like that. Interesting. And you may be really connecting with children or your own inner child. There is an indication here that appreciating the the imperfect perfection of children and yourself as a child. Gosh, I don't even feel right about saying children are perfectly imperfect, because it's like this part of the board I have labeled as like it's pieces of nature. I've got like an acorn cap, which is missing the bottom, and some anisette stars that are kind of a little bit deformed. And so I say it's like nature, but it's perfectly imperfect. It's like it's not whole, it's not, perfect, but it's exactly how it's meant to be, and it's still beautiful, and it's still useful, and all that stuff. And so when children falls on there, perhaps it's like there's part of you, part of your inner child that was made to think it wasn't perfect, made to think that it was damaged or not right in some way. And I think that connecting with nature and kind of expressing yourself and who you are is like steps towards showing this part of you that it's okay to be that. It's okay to be different. It's okay that you're not exactly what people expect or want. So it's a beautiful thing that you're doing as an adult to express your individuality, and doing this on behalf of your child who was told they needed to fit into a certain box. But also, this is the thing that's affecting your love life. I got that. It just came as a message directly. This this inner child thing, where your inner child was told that they weren't being what they were supposed to be, or punished for things that were natural, is what has been affecting your love life. So it's manifesting as people outside of you that or that tell you the same things your parents told you. Oh, you don't do that right. Oh, you could improve on that. Oh, you don't talk right. Oh, you don't dress right. Oh, you don't attend to this right. Oh, you don't create that right. Oh, you could have done it better. Whatever it is that your parents or a caretaker expressed to make you think, or make that inner child part of you think, that it wasn't okay to be who you are and to express the way you were and to be as curious as you were, is the same thing that's being mirrored in your love life through somebody treating you that same way and activating those wounds in you. And part of your way to offset that is to rebel by expressing loudly who you are in other ways. And maybe this is happening in the home, and this is happening outside of the home. And there's like a little bit of a divide between this. It's like you are modeling for this child, but this child needs rescue. This child needs to know But it's not okay to be treated that way. So maybe there's a conversation that needs to be had, or a situation left, or, you know, that's something that you'll know. Okay. Wow, that was pretty specific, but it just came through that way, so I shared it. Okay, summer. Summertime and the living's easy. Yeah, you feel that, right? That summer is going to be a great time for travel. I think you'll be doing some traveling in the summer, and also, like, your connection to source strengthens. Your connection to your guides strengthens. Your feeling of accomplishment because you've dealt with this situation strengthens. And the summer proves to be a really fruitful time for you, where you feel like things are going your way. Yeah, look at that. Debt paid off. So you wanted to accomplish something certain, and you are accomplishing it. And so that means that your debt, which is a karmic debt, it was a karma. This whole thing with the childhood and the love life, that was a karmic partner, probably. This was a karmic situation with the parents, and this was something your soul wanted to experience. And when it says debt paid off, it just means you learned what you needed to learn from the experience. So you don't have to live it out anymore, because that debt paid off is landing on accomplishments on the board. You've accomplished that. So now, if you've already learned what you needed to learn from this situation, you know, now it's like, I just feel compelled to say, like, boundaries, you know, like what's in your best interest, you know, things like that. Like, I kind of want to get some cards from my Fair Relating deck, but I also feel like you probably already know what you need to do for this child part of you. What did that child need? To either have the parents told how this was affecting them, so they would change, and if they wouldn't change, to be removed from that situation so that they wouldn't be inhibited that way. And it's not to say that our parents or caregivers were, you know, harmful or purposely abusing us necessarily. It's just that they were doing their best, and this is an evolution that we're all going through here on Earth. And holiday is falling on the place on the board that has the subconscious. So there's some kind of reason in your subconscious that it feels like you can't go on holiday. Maybe it feels like you can't escape it. It feels like you can't play and have a good time. One of the wounds that I had to heal from was in childhood. Anytime that I was having fun, my parents had a chore for me to do instead. Oh, Julie's having fun. Oh, no. Do the dishes, or stack the wood, or even though the wood's already stacked, stack it over there. It's like my fun was very inhibited and taken from me, and so as an adult, that looked like me always waiting for the other shoe to drop, me not wanting to have too much fun because it would be taken from me, kind of things like that. And I feel like that might be like the next wound that kind of comes up for you to see when you start trying to have more joy in life, or when you get free from this situation and you're like, well, why aren't I happy anymore? Why aren't I happy? And it's like, because there's a part of you still inhibited on the play. And, you know, it's just something else that you wanted to learn from. So you stacked up a good lesson plan for yourself, but it's all within reach. It's like all coming to you, all the ideas and understandings are coming to you in the stillness, when you're listening, when you're connecting with nature, when you're being in that kind of space of calm and receptive. Turtle, retreat. Stop trying to make something happen. Well, that's beautiful, because we just said that, right? We said let it come to you. Yeah, and I think, you know, it makes sense that you'd have to try to cope with these, and especially when we're children, like if you can relate to the example I gave, which was like I was always called to do the chores. It's like you get trained to always keep busy. I gotta do this. I gotta clean something. It's like that is your program. And you can't fix this with the same coping that protected you from it in the first place. You're going to have to break that pattern. So stop trying to make something happen. Yeah. You can retreat and let this come to you. This is something that is going to come through your feminine energy. So when you're creative, when you're in nature, when you're nurturing, you know, those are the times. Not when you're trying to protect yourself from anyone else or figure out why you did it wrong. You know, those are not the times when it's going to come. Porcupine, innocence. Yeah, free yourself of guilt and shame. Yeah, you have done nothing wrong. You are literally a beautiful soul here to experience these things, to understand them, because you are going to use them towards your life's purpose. And I believe your life's purpose is going to have to do something with children. You're going to be doing something with children with the information you gain. Whether it be know what not to do now that you know what you had to learn through and from. Okay, possess self-confidence. That's the other advice, and I'm going to get one more. So you can trust that you're doing everything right. Only the little damaged child part of you that was told they were wrong thinks that you're not doing it right. Only that part of you. So love that part of you, accept that that part of you exists, acknowledge and validate why that part of you exists, accept that it exists, and love that part of you. It's just like you would for your own child. You know, you would be like, unless you were passing along the pattern, you know, which sometimes happens before we become conscious, but you've paid this debt off. You understand what's happening. So you can break this pattern for yourself and then be an example to your own children too. But like, you would want your children to know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn along the way. We are who we are. That's all we have to be. Choose love over fear is the other advice card. Very interesting, because those came out before in another reading. So you may have been drawn to more than one reading. That's perfectly fine. Choosing love over fear is when that fearful part of you that feels like you're not confident, or you're not doing it right, or you're guilty, or you're feeling shame, that part of you needs to be loved. Okay, it's in fear. Anytime it's feeling fear, doubts, you know, all that stuff, you know that that's a fearful part of you that needs your love. It needs your presence. It needs to be acknowledged, validated, accepted, and loved. That's it. That's your only job, is to be in love right now. And if you don't love the experiences that you're having with somebody or some people, then it's not self-loving to be in those experiences. It's not self-loving to continue experiences with people when you do not love the experiences you're having. Okay? And when you stay in a situation where you're not self-loving, then you are modeling that to your own inner child and your children, if you have them, that it's okay to stay in situations that you don't love. So they will continue on that pattern, unless we model to them and show them an example of us mattering too, that we matter too. It matters if whether or not we are enjoying an experience, and that is a good indicator on whether or not it's an experience we should stay in. Yeah. Okay. Wow, a lot of specifics here, but you know, we're just going to go with it. Only take what's helpful to you to reflect on. This is just meant to be helpful, so if you don't find it helpful, it's not meant for you. Thank you for your time. I'm going to end the reading there, and I am going to possibly see you in a future reading. Bye now.